What is up, good people? Crypto Prepper here. Today is Wednesday, May 27th, 2026. Today we are looking at a fear and greed index of 34. Bitcoin down just a little bit since yesterday. We are going to continue down the path here on CoinMarketCap to find currently number 38. Oh, shoot, I skipped over Mantle. Um, let's look at Mantle here real quick. So let's see here. Is this available on Coinbase? Ooh, it is. Look at that volume. That's not a lot of volume. Interesting. Okay. Well, looks like I'll be doing Mantle next. But I've already got oops, shoot. I've already got um Uniswap pulled up. It hasn't been that long since I don't know how I skipped that. I never heard of Mantle. I don't know what it does, but we'll take a look at it and see if it's been around long enough to warrant a 365-day backtest. But like I said, we're looking for the best Uniswap trading bot for 2026. So I pop over to the Bitscap trading platform and I set up a grid bot. So I go to Start Bot, Create Grid Bot, set it up on Coinbase. Here's my pairing with the initial investment, $1,000. And then the only thing I change on the settings here is the grid levels down to 50. It defaults at 100. I don't mess with any of these. Oh, and I don't touch trailing up or pump dump protection, but I do, uh, I guess I do use or adjust some of these settings, but I do it in a different way. So I go back to 365 days ago and I measure up 60% and down 60%. And then I click and drag these so that they match up and match that spread so the grid matches that spread. So you can see how, of course, hindsight is 2020, and if I had it, I would have taken it all the way up here. But I'm just assuming that I'm setting it up on that day, and I want to protect myself down from another 60% crash and uh, make money on 60%. So I got a nice spread here. And this is one similar to uh, yesterday on DOT, where it had already dropped 67%. So, but the 60% up and down is a little, easier to swallow than the 75 I had to go on DOT to, that I would have had to go on DOT. I probably wouldn't have gone that far and wouldn't have been as successful on that. So you can see from the most recent, like, it wasn't really an alt season, but when we saw alts pump right after the election in 2024, it is down 82% since then. But it is only down only 73. Let's see, I didn't get that top quite right. So yeah, down 71, 72% since its recent high in August. Um, so let's do a back test on this, and you can see it produced a 23.31 APY. And let's see if anything changed on here. So just in a little adjustment that I must have accidentally made, bump that up to actually 25.37. And you can see, even though I didn't set that grid all the way up to the top here because I didn't know it was going to go that high yet, it trailed up and then ate away at some of these bylines. But in this case, it was able to protect us from a that 71% correction, 72% correction, I think it was, or actually 76 at its peak, currently only at 72. So that's good. And it every time you see one of these little red circles, you're making 69 cents. So that's even cooler. That's a nice number. Anyways, that is pretty good for a grid bot. And let's see if we can beat that with our dollar cost average bots. And you can see that this is one of the cases where the grid bot actually was a better return. So take that as you will. There are definitely pros and cons to both of the grid bot and the DCA bot. In this case, the grid bot also gave a better return. But one of the things I like about the grid bots is that it is easy to uh, modify this after the fact and kind of take away these bylines if you needed to. And from the USD you have, or the USDC in this case, that you have in the bot on the sidelines. It's easy to take that away if you ever needed to without stopping the bot. Okay. So let's take a look at this back test that we have on the DCA bot. We have a 23.83% APY, which is pretty damn good, even though it doesn't beat the grid bot. It's better than you're going to get in your bank. It's better than you're going to get staking. And I don't think you can even stake Uniswap, but I don't know. So the other thing that I look at after the APY is I want to see the continuation on this bot. So what this tells me when I see these green lines is that this bot is still continuing to make your money. It's not it's not out of range or whatever, and not making you money. And if it pops back, when it pops back up here, it's going to sell. But if it does pop down below, then you're going to be buying, or the bot will automatically be buying. And I can't. This is another case where, unfortunately, this is. Oh, let's see, June 20. So wow. So this is one of the coins where it is almost in price discovery to the downside because we are below the support even from back in June of 2022. And that was when we saw the bottom of XRP. I remember at 23 or 28 cents, something ridiculous like that. Um, anyway, but we have that continuation, so I like to see that. And then the other thing I look for, if I can, uh, if I can change anything on this, is if I go too long without seeing any action. So there's almost a month. I don't like to see anything more than a month. And that one we went about a month again. But in this case, I'm looking at this back test and I see this pop up here. I'm thinking it had to be pretty dang close to that 5% above your DCA because your DCA would have been right about here. So what I did, and I'm going to show you here what I did. Let's go through these settings here before I show you what I did to maybe correct that a little bit. So our initial investment is $1,000, and of course the pair is UNI and USDC on Coinbase. And then on our manual adjustments, our bot settings are the base order amount 31.25. These are the same on every bot, every DCA bot that I do, because they are finely tuned so that every time it drops down to the next limit order, you're basically doubling the amount that you have invested in dollars. Okay, so then that brings your DCA down really quick and allows you to capitalize on those pops when they happen. So the averaging orders amount is 968.75. So when you take those two numbers together, that gives you your 1,000. And that 968 allows those 5 limit orders here with the averaging orders quantity 5. It allows those to double each time when you slide the amount multiplier to X2. So I'm jumping around here a little bit, but I got to keep it interesting, at least to myself. Uh, but then when we look back at the averaging order step percent, that is the distance between these lines here. So 9 is about the highest we've ever had to go, but I think this is the farthest I've made it down this list before I went back up to the top. of the coin market cap list. So I don't think I've ever ran a bot on Uniswap or anything lower than this. And currently we're at 38. And of course, I gotta go back and look at Mantle. But a 9% spread in between these limit orders, I think is the highest well, no, it's not. There might have been one other. Anyway, it doesn't matter. Usually I start out at 5 and then uh, I take that up and down to see what I can get for my 365-day back test. Okay, so our take profit percentage, price percent is 5, and our risk management pump dump protection is off. So the first thing I will change after, because I'll do my averaging order step percent, and I'll look at that back test to make sure that I have the continuation. I have a decent APY. Then the other thing that I will play around with is the price percent change. And this metric can actually be changed after you set up your bot. So that's food for thought. I don't recommend messing around with it too much, but it is the one thing you can change. So what I did to try to capitalize on that, on some of these pops here that we saw within this last year, is I took that price percent change down to 4.5 because I knew we had to be close on a couple of those. And you can see it did increase it just a little bit, so 24.93. And you can see here where it popped up, and I was thinking we had to be pretty close to that 5%. It actually purchased here too, which I don't think the other one did. But so it, it sold here, purchased, and then when it popped back up, it was able to take advantage of that, where on the 5% it didn't. So you don't have that full month anywhere here where you did before. So that's nice to see. Let's see, December 1st, December, yeah, so not a month yet. And we have the other thing that I like to see on these back tests is this continuation, and of course the higher APY. So, you could have set up that bot on a grid bot and a DCA bot, and both would have given you back about a 25% APY. All right, so hopefully that helps you in your bot making journey if you're interested in Uniswap. If you want to see, if you like this video, give me a thumbs up. If you don't like this video, give me a thumbs down. If you want to see more of these videos, subscribe to the channel. And if you have a favorite coin, leave it for me in the comments, and I'll run a bot for you. All right, thanks for watching, and we'll see you on the next one.